Sporting Masters, season number 7. Frankie Innes joining me alongside in the production studios down in Cape Town.
Yes, Kevin, good evening, and I'll let you also know. Yes, we come from Okayama International Racetrack in Okayama in Japan. Mamamoto is the town that's not too far from Okayama, and it's the full course. In fact, 2.75k long. The altitude being in Japan, very low, 6 meters above sea level, and only to indicate our wind with the clear skies and a temperature out there of 8 degrees Celsius.
Well, the qualifying session is just about started. Qualifying session, and you see out there on the screen that staying Boo background with sponsorship that wait and see. Steve McCarthy back with us for the series again. Love to see how the show is again. Valentina, as always. Others, Spice You Bear. 6 Hot Wheels in 3. You Bear also out there. Game spammers that last year and a half, but he made it himself. Gene Nook of red success story of iRacing South Africa last year. Great to see the Grand Prix back in the game. It's monster colors. Shots Boltman Robbie teams and got sponsorship at off. That's little Francois Hubert, one of the start of the 6-hour racing. Same with the quali, and it's done lots and lots of homework background right racing Saturday. Cameron Lazarus and 5 colors, T-Cars.co.za 7. Graham Stephen, the gold colors, that's the one that always owns Mr. Lego system on the element that's really strong Raymond Duggan. That time spot Steven was momentarily off the U-Bear. And so far, not a lot of the guys have been able to sub 160.
Well, yes, during the practice session, there was 10 guys doing mid 145, and the Pitney Bad, the 777 done a 145.880, and then Francois Hubert in the Alpha Tauri colors, they doing a 145.888, the provisional in that second position, and then the man from Pantera Racing, Luke Lucchesi, in that third position with a 145.92. Any other driver out there is a Graham Stephen that's on a 145.961. Those 4 cars are the only drivers that are basically doing high 45.
Anybody who gets under 46 on my see, so it was out saying I got to 46 was about I like cutting off a few thousandths of a second outside of that beautiful cut-off line, the 146 head. See, just 5 thousandths of a second itself. Bobby Bay also around, well, 74 thousandths of a second outside of 6. Oh, sorry, correction. Bobby Bay, 145 second.
I was just going to say, he
Oh,
put the thing there on pole position, then dropped down, then went back to pole again. And now look who's on provisional pole. It's that man in car 88 with a 145.240, and that is Jaco Steyn. He is there in that provisional pole so far with a 6 minute of the 10-minute quali done. Graham Stevens still out there in that the second position with a 145.565, and then the 777. And that is Peter Hubert. He's in that third position so far with a 145.685.
yeah. So got himself to almost 8.5. That's good. Good. Easy still out there. Yep. So he's still a chance of a little bit closer to of vision in, but Space Hubert inside the vision.
Space Hubert in that Hot Wheels car sitting there in P6 with a 145.885. As a matter of fact, there are 8 drivers that's in the 145s. Francois Hubert, and then Jan Sparmers, he's kicked up into P8 with a 145.9. Jan Sparmers, and they are the only 8 drivers so far with 7 minutes done that is in the mid to high 45.
So Abhinav is still out there, and he's with the possibility. That's the second last corner of working himself ahead of the fifth of the grid to get very nicely. See what Alpha can do. Second flying up 16023, and does a 146. Oh, he makes it a 145.9. So the top 10 making it to the numbers, and Johan Marie pops himself up. Third row of the grid.
Yeah, he got it all the way down there in P11. He's popped up to that P6 at this point in time with the 45.783 there for Johan Marie. In the once there in the colors there is Luke Lucchese. Luke in that third position so far with 8 minutes done, and he's done a 45.643 has Luke Lucchese.
So, as we said, it's going to be not a lot of guys going to get to the 146, sub 146s. We have front 11 all making through, and all within a second of one another, all the way down to 13th position. Stephen McCarthy, the 146.2, 145.2 for Jaco Steyn. So the new equipment in the hands of Jaco Steyn, who will in fact be coming with that down to Cape Town next week Friday for the motor show. Scolani finds himself in one pole position.
13 drivers are within a second of each other, and there are 27 names you see there on that leaderboard. Jaco Steyn put that thing in pole position with a 145.240 and hopped into pit lane. And right now, there is nobody that can challenge Jaco Steyn for that 45.2. Graham Stephen is the closest so far with the 45.5. But let's have a look and see what Luke Lucchese can do in that third position. In the car number 1, he so far has done a 45.643 as Luke Lucchese as he works his way around OKAYAMA Raceway. Can he move up into that second position? No, he does. Luke has gone up into P2 with a 45.4, and that is a Peter Hubert.
Oh, that's something. That's Steyn on the front of the grid. Can Luke Lucchese bump him off the front row of the grid? No, he does not. He does not get it right to bump him off the front row of the grid. There comes David Hubert, but he's not going to be able to get a time that's down the back lane. It's going to be cut off that lap before he will be able to go in third. So let's have a look, see how that grid is going to look from the front end down. Wow, that's a completely new look. Jaco Steyn and Peter Hubert protect the front row of the grid.
Second row was Graham Stephen and Luke Lucchese. Third row, Davy Hubert and Johan Curie. Fourth row, Robbie Keens and Francois Hubert. And the fifth row is Twice Hubert and Ati Nagel.
And Spammers and Raymond Duggan in the 12th position. And we've got Stephen McCart, Willem Wood, Hammond Lazarus, Sandra Bakari, Mike Ferrier, Willem Pinar, Renier Rube, Andre Steenkamp, Timothy Stanton, and Colin Flitt that we've got up there on the board so far. Gerald Maget, Peter van der Spey, Ian Riddle, Leonardo Bakari just keeps on going to Eugene Minuk. Frankie, they just about to come off the line.
Right, remember this is going to be a two-race event, not a 40 or 45-minute stint. This one will be, I think, 15 minutes, and then the feature race will be a half an hour long. And it's going to be a little different in the iRacing Master Series than what we normally see. We're waiting for Stephen McCarthy still to grid in that 13th position, as all the drivers are now on their grid boxes, except for McCarthy.
Yeah, there he comes.
Yeah, there he pops in now, so everybody is in their right grid positions, in their grid box. This is going to be a standing start. The lights will go off, and then we will be underway. 5 lights, a slight pause, and away they go. Jaco Steyn and Peter Hubert are side by side as the race down to turn number 1. Right in there behind him, it's Steyn that takes the lead there from Hubert in second position. Then we've got the Graham Stephen. There's trouble out there already for a Davy Hubert, and Davy Hubert's dropping down the leaderboard as they work their way through. There is Mike Verrier. Jaco Steyn sitting out there in that second position. He was leading very briefly. It's now Hubert, Peter, that sits out there in P1. Third position is Graham Stephen, followed there by Luke Lucchese, and right behind him is Johan Curie.
Well, I think it went off a lot better than what we pretty much expected. Out to the back straight they go now, and it's Peter Hubert that's going to lead them out down that long back straight, climbing out behind Jaco Steyn. Graham Stephen, the next man that's right in there. Luke Lucchese in the multicolored car. Johan Curie is already up into the top 5, and Swayze Hubert is right there behind him.
Yeah, Swayze Hubert in the Hot Wheels car sitting right there on his case. We'll get intervals coming up to you now to see how close these drivers are to each other as we hop aboard with the Swayze Hubert right on the back bumper there of the Monster Energy man, and that is Johan Curie. And this group is now beginning to break away from Davy Hubert. Remember, Davy had trouble in that 3 car and dropped down the leaderboard. He finds himself there in P7. There is Willem Botha sitting there in that now 10th position as he made the move there on Steve McCarthy. As we go back to that front runners working their way around Okayama International Raceway.
I always thought this one was going to be very, very good. Looks like Jan Spammers is going to try and go for that passing maneuver. He's right in there behind Davy Hubert. Let's see if he gets the drive. Looks like it's easy. He's all over the back of Graham Stephen. He dives out towards that inside line, but I think Graham is late enough on the brakes any given corner to be able to hold on to that one. First, second, third, and fourth. That's the battle we're looking at. Go just a little bit further back up to that 5th position. As we said, that was Johan Curie in the monster colors. There's Johan Curie, and behind Johan Curie is Swayze Hubert in the Hot Wheels entry. Another battle that's very close still is that the Young Spammers. You can see Young Spammers on the back of Davy Hubert.
Yeah, and right there with them is Ati Nagel, Willem Botha, Steve McCarthy, Mike Verrier. The list goes on and on all the way down to Francois Hubert that's there in that 14th position. And it is a massive, massive fight that raging on there for Hubert, 7th position. But back to that leading group of cars. There you can see that other fight we were talking about coming down that long straight. That's an old group all the way down there to Francois Hubert. That's in that 14th place. Ati Nagel sitting there in a P9. Right behind Ati Nagel, we've got Willem Botha. But let's get back to the sharp end of the field as Peter Hubert is now pulling away from the front end of the field. Is a bit of a problem. Oh, and that involved Graham Stephen. And I think the other one might just have been either Jaco Steyn or Johan Curie that made slight contact with him. There was a black car with other colors on it, but look at Johan Curie. He's got Swayze Hubert riveted there to his back bumper, and in return Jaco Steyn is crawling all over the back of Luke Lucchese as they go down the home straight.
well with that Linus and all of them, and we always thought this was going to be pretty interesting racing. A 145.8 already for Pretty Hubert, so already stretching his legs, trying to get a little bit of a gap between himself and the rest of the pack. Jaco Steyn right in there as well. Somebody moves right off onto the inside of the circuit. It could have been Timothy Stanton that moved out of the way there. So Jaco Steyn right in there where he wants to be. But just look at that. Luke Lucchesi is normally a man that pulls away from everybody and everything. He's not getting away from Jaco Steyn. Jaco Steyn is holding on to him very, very tight.
And closing up onto the back of them is Yuan Fourie, and Sway Schubert is closing up onto them. That's a fight for second, third, fourth, and the fifth position. Darby Hubert is 1.7 seconds behind them, but Darby Hubert has got the Jan Sparmers behind him now, ahead of him, as Jan Sparmers made the move there, and Darby Hubert takes that position right back there from Sparmers once again. So there's a lovely fight going on out there for P6 and 7 behind, involving Darby Hubert and Jan Sparmers.
That was where the initial passing maneuver happened. We could have go there as well. And there you see the passing maneuver. And he managed to hold on to that. Not a lot of space behind him directly after that. Going back to the front end of the field, Peter Hubert doing it all right.
2.7 seconds. He has got a lead there over Jaco Steyn. That's in that second position. Jaco Steyn is 0.6 of a second ahead there of Luke Lucchesi, but on Lucchesi's case is Yuan Fourie. And Sway Schubert is coming with Yuan Fourie as well. And Lucas closing up on them. Only 1.4 seconds between Sway Schubert is Darby Hubert. That's there in that sixth position. There's Yuan Fourie. There's the Hot Wheels car of Sway Schubert right in there behind him. And Graham Stephen in P14 is the fastest man out there with a 145.552. Here comes Darby Hubert. Right behind Darby Hubert is Jan Sparmers as they work their way around. And Atinakol is on the case there of Jan Sparmers as we look back from the Darby Hubert Mazda MX-5.
Just look at that train of cars from Darby Hubert, Jan Sparmers, Atinakol, Willem Botha, Stephen McCarthy, Sandro Bakari, even Mike Berrier, and then a Francois Hubert in there as well. And Francois Hubert looks like he's just about ready to make a passing maneuver, and that on Mike Berrier down the long straight. Mike's covering that line. It's a 180-degree bend at the end of that straight. Not a bad position to be in for Mike. He turns it in nice and neatly. He'll stay ahead of the AlphaTauri car and hold on to that position. So nice placing of the vehicle there by that man. Willem Botha starting to close.
Closing on those two as well. We see at the back of that pack, P14 is a Graham Stephen, but Willem Botha, he's having a fight there with the Atinakol. Atinakol is just behind Willem Botha, and they are closing up on Jan Sparmers and Darby Hubert. That's just there ahead of Jan Sparmers. It is a massive dogfight out there from P6 all the way down to P14, because don't count out Graham Stephen either. He's the last car in that pack that'll come around that left-hander. There you see him come. He's the last man in the screen, and then not too far behind him is Ian Riddle, 4.3 seconds behind him in P15.
Sway Schubert starting to get to very, very close to the back bumper once again of Luke Lucchesi, but Luke Lucchesi is actually all over the back of Yuan Fourie. Look at that one. Let's go in car. That's what it looks like from the cockpit view of Luke Lucchesi, 0.170 of a second. Take that long right-hander all the way down in the gears, down to second gear. Slight rise. Now you go up onto that level plane. This is the longest straight of the lot. Probably find that Yuan Fourie, if he feels he's far enough ahead, will stay on that outside line. If not, he will move across to the right-hand side and do the Mike Berrier. No, he knows that he's too late enough on that. Oh, coming there from behind, very, very close. Sway Schubert almost making contact. You can see him in the top mirror. Through the left-hander, you can run it onto that green section. Now you just got to feather it lightly around about there. You lift off and then stomp on the gas again and run it from second up to third gear. Now you've got a 90-degree left-hander coming up. Got to just clip that curbstone like that on the inside. Keep it all the way towards the left. and now you've got to start to accelerate very early from where you are. You miss that curve zone on the outside. It's not too high, but it's not very long. Now you've got to put two wheels over that curve zone on the inside, run it all the way out, run back through there, and you just go one gear down and then work it back up into the straight. A fair amount of run of room on the outside of the last corner, but you still got to have your wits about you. That one. A quick look at what it looks like on board with Lucchese. Fastest lap of 145.3. Wow, Jakustein on the move. Let's have a look at that.
Right, there's Jakustein in that second position, and he's going to put a lap there on Willem Pienaar that is just ahead of him in car number 57. So Willem Pienaar is about to be lapped there by Jakustein. This is a replay of Graham Stephen. Is that the overtaking maneuver? Yes, on the inside of Francois Hubert, and then it turned sour for both himself and Francois Hubert.
Oh, there we go. From Francois Hubert's point of view, he stayed perfectly on the line. Graham Stephen trying to make up some position, actually closes the door on Graham Stephen. Graham knew where to go. And yeah, that was it. Came back to the front end of the field. Eddie Hubert doing a brilliant job for 1.5 seconds lap now on that second position of Pakistan.
Pakistan in that second position in that machine of his, and here comes Yuan Furi. Yuan Furi 1.3 seconds behind him, and here comes Luke Lucchese. Right on Lucchese's case is the Shell and Hot Wheels car of Sway Hubert. Then behind him is a young Sparmers. Sparmers working way, sliding that car through that left-hander. Then we've got Willem Pienaar in P7, 1.1 seconds. Is a Pienaar behind Sparmer. And then we've got Steve McCarthy. Here comes Steve McCarthy. McCarthy's got Sandro Bakari and Mike Verrier right on his case. There's McCarthy. There's Bakari. And right behind him, we've got the 45 8-ball 24/7 of Mike Verrier.
Will he be able to get the guy from there? It looks like it comes up alongside. I think he might be able to make that passing maneuver. They're actually normally teammates. They make enough space for one another, and Mike Verrier makes up in that position. So you'll be pretty tough with that. And oh, look at that. Sandro Bakari having a pretty decent run, I must say. Nice to see that Sandro's right up there where it counts. But Mike Verrier, he'll be pretty tough with this one. He's inside of the top 10. He's got one of his best mates just in front of him, and I think he'll be pretty happy with the battle that he's got on hand there. And Lazarus looks like he's about to make it through.
And Lazarus is all over the back of Andre Steenkamp, is all over the back of Peter van der Spey. And Lazarus up on the inside, the 46 Steenkamp, that is the Miller yellow car. And they are chasing down the number 4 of Peter van der Spey. And that is a fight for P15, 16, and 17 between Van der Spey, Steenkamp, and Lazarus. There's a tenth of a second between Van der Spey and Steenkamp, and a tenth between Steenkamp and Lazarus. And they make contact. And 2 of them get sent back in there. One was Van der Spey, and the other one that was all over the place as well was Andre Steenkamp, with Lazarus in the middle of all of this.
Well, nobody really took advantage of that and just drove away. They sort of like just slowed it all up, got themselves back together again, and carried on with the fight from there. What a lovely fight this one is. Andre Steenkamp leading out that group. Here we go. Put on space the inside of Herman Lazarus. Brings with him Raymond Duggan. So Raymond Duggan does it deep into the corner. He's going to try and get the run as they go out into the front lane, but I think he's run it a bit too wide. I don't think he's going to have a good run from there. He finds himself 0.8 yard, dropping slightly back. Is Duggan at this stage of the fight. Looks like Steve McCarthy and Nachel just had a passing maneuver. Let's have a look at that one. I think it was pass and pass again. So Steve McCarthy outside. The passing maneuver, we lost out initially on that position. They fights back from there, and just about 4 corners after that, according to my telemetry, actually got that position back again. So we've done 13 minutes 19 seconds on lap number 8. That and Hubert is now slowly but surely closed down by the driver of his life, Jakustein. Here's Jakustein.
and they're going to catch and put a lap on Gerald Mouget, that's down in that 24th position as they make their way around. There's the back end of the pit area there as you see them go through. That's the back marker, that's Gerald Mouget. Right behind him are the two leaders in Peter Hubert and Jaco Steyn, and there's 6/10 of a second between them as Mouget moves out the way and allows Hubert and Steyn to go through. 3.1 seconds behind them. There you see him on the right hand side of your screen is a man in third position, and that is Johan Fourie. We ride aboard with Fourie as he watches the two leaders there just on his right hand side as he comes out the final corner. He has got Luc Lucchesi 1.1 seconds behind him, and then 2 seconds behind Lucchesi. P5 is Sway Hubert. There is Fourie going through with the Lego outfit of Lucchesi sitting in there behind him, and then here comes the Hot Wheels car. That is Sway Hubert, and Sway's has got Jan Sparmers right on his back bumper, and the Red Bull outfit of Willem Botha in that 7th position.
Mike Perrier once again closing up on his bud Sandro Bakari. This is the last lap that they're on. The 14 minutes 50 into it. It's going to be 15 minutes. And to race, I think the top 10, if I've got it correct, is going to be converted. So that means that Atinaho might just be at the right place at the right time.
All the 15 minutes is up, and we've got a new leader, Jaco Steyn, and Peter chopping and changing lead. He's Steyn and Hubert, and closing up on them is Johan Fourie. And this will be the run to the checkered flag, and it is not done and dusted yet between the two of them. But Jaco Steyn has now got his nose ahead, and here comes Peter Hubert. There's 700ths of a second between them as they go into the left-hander. It's now dropped down to 3/10, 2/10, 1/10 of a second. Peter Hubert has not given up on the victory here, but so far it looks like it's going to be Jaco Steyn.
Well, it's just one more corner to go, and there they go through the second last corner. This is the last corner. If he gets good drive through there, I think he's done it. I think this is a maiden victory in the Masters for Jaco Steyn.
Steyn comes home in P1. Hubert finishes second, 2.5 seconds behind them in third position. Will be Johan Fourie. There he crosses the line, 1.6 behind him is Luc Lucchesi, and 2.6 behind Lucchesi. P5 will be Sway Hubert.
Sandro Bakari comes across the line. Mike Perrier there behind him. Atinaho, Stephen McCarthy, Graham Stephen, Francois Hubert, as fast as you can say the name, but coming across the line. There comes again Riddle, and it was in second for Torcher. Herman Lazarus holds it out there of Andre Steenkamp. Behind Steenkamp is Peter van der Spey. They had a lovely battle as well. Raymond Duggan coming through just ahead of Leonardo Bakari. Colin Pitt that just dropped a little bit off the back end of that one. Colin Pitt coming through. Harvey Jabir, remember he was knocked earlier on, and that is why we find for a long way further down.
I got a feel for Davy Hubert. One stage of the game, he had that car in pole position, and he was fighting for the lead, and that top 3 was always in that top 5 until he had some misfortune and drops all the way down into that 21st position. There's Pit Entrant on his right hand side as he worked his way out of the final corner towards the checkered flag, and Davy Hubert sadly will finish all the way down in 21st position.
Yeah, he was a lot higher up for that. Robbie Teams, but finally, yeah, the train that one not that long ago. Seconds back from the yellow car. There he comes. That should be the bear, the camel car. The last one up. So, frankly, 10 laps. That took in a total of 7 minutes. Back. And, well, let's have a look at which grid is going to be now. I do believe that if they're going to convert, it then works out. Graham Stephen goes onto the front of the grid for the main event. Atinaho and Mike Perrier, Sandro Bakari and Willem Botha round up 6.
The first 12 cars was inverted because Jaco Steyn that won it will start in 12th position, and Peter Hubert that came second will start in that 11th position. So then 14th and 13th and 14th, Francois Hubert in the middle, followed there by Herman Lazarus and Andre Steenkamp. That's the first 8 rows. Row 9 is Van der Spey and Duggan. Row 10 will be Bakari and Plit. Row 11 will be Darby Hubert and Robbie Deans, followed there by Hubert, Mojay, Stanton and Pinar, and Manouk to start in P27.
About ready for them to come off the line for the main race, and well, not even enough time to have a swig of your whiskey, and they just about to come off the line.
Yeah, there's 2 cars that did not make it, and that's Gerald Berger and Eugene Manouk. So 25 cars go green here at OKAYAMA International Raceway, and it's Graham Stephen and Stephen McCarthy, and then Atinakal, Mike Vera. Vera's dropping down the leaderboard. Why? Because he's on the dirt and then slams there into the 88 of Yaku Stein.
Oh, that's going to take Yaku right out of the domain. They did so well initially with the first race, and that's going to blow him right out of it. So Graham Stephen leads out there with Stephen McCarthy running it pretty wide. Atinakal in there behind that. Sandro Bakari on that invert finds himself now inside the top 5. It's Willem Botha in the Red Bull car down the main straight. They go. It's Swayze Hubert that's right in there as well. Johan Fourie once again finds himself in the top 7.
And just behind him is Luc Lucchesi there in that 8th position, and he's going to have a look. He had a look at Swayze Hubert, but pulled in there behind him did Johan Fourie. There is Robbie Teings. Right behind him is Darby Hubert. There is Luc Lucchesi just ahead of him. You see Johan Fourie, and he's crowding the back end there of Swayze Hubert. Is Fourie. They side by side. Ahead of them, we have got Willem Botha, and ahead of them, you've got the 72 of Sandro Bakari. So it's a heck of a fight that's going on there. There's trouble going with the left-hander for somebody there. And we'll have a look-see.
Oh, Stephen McCarthy. That was Stephen McCarthy that
yes,
got turned sideways, and that's taken him out of a very strong position. Graham Stephen leading out at the front end from Atinakal, but look at that train, and looks like Swayze Hubert is all over the back of the Lego car, and that's a bit easy.
Yeah, it's a lovely fight from P2 all the way down to P8 at this point in time, as they make their way through, and Botha dives through on the inside of Bakari, and right on their case is the 19, and that is Fourie. That is Johan Fourie right there in behind Willem Botha and Sandro Bakari. The two of them run wide. They will lose momentum, and this will give the drive here to Johan Fourie, and he'll attack and get his nose ahead there of Bakari, and he does. He makes the move stick there on Sandro Bakari, and right behind them is Luc Lucchesi and Swayze Hubert.
Well, these cars have got quite a bit of drag when they work their way down long straights, and you're going to find a couple of the guys are going to be diving out exactly like that. You see diving out behind Johan Fourie. That's Sandro Bakari. He runs that position back, but Johan Fourie defending that line on the inside. I remember Bakari's got to be pretty careful because he's got the Lego car easy in behind him. Then Swayze Hubert, that's been very, very effective, is right in there as well. There's Swayze Hubert, and looking forward from Swayze Hubert, that's what the back end of that multicolored Lego car looks like.
And as we have a look at Luc Lucchesi's car from Swayze Hubert, the 777 of Peter Hubert in P8 is in there as well. It's only 3/10 of a second behind Swayze. And there you see Swayze Hubert just ahead of him. You see that train of cars. Luc Lucchesi just ahead of him. Ahead of Luc Lucchesi is Sandro Bakari. Ahead of Bakari is Johan Fourie. Ahead of Johan Fourie is Willem Botha. And ahead of him in P2 is Atinakal, is 2.2 seconds behind race leader Graham Stephen.
Well, you saw how he started getting it sideways, Luc Lucchesi, as he went over that curve. So a 1:45.8. That's the fastest so far in this 30-minute race. 3 minutes 50 into it. Let's have a look from the front end down. Graham Stephen, well, he's doing it all right this time. Remember, he had the problem, and now he's got it sorted out as Sandro Bakari went off. Well, first of all, was Willem Botha. I see that went off circuit. Let's see exactly how that one went. There's Willem Botha. He runs it off onto the side. He gets it back together. That was actually a nice little catch there by him. But then Swayze Hubert also ran into a bit of a problem. Let's see what happened to Swayze. We just got that one completely out of line. That's a very strange accident that something must have gone wrong for him, because that's just not the normal line. I don't know whether it's Netcode or ESCOM that is fighting back. One of the two. Talking about fighting back. Johan Paris, look at that. Grab the back bumper. You don't like Monster versus Red Bull? Well, here it is.
Well, the battle of the energy drinks out there at this point in time for P3 and 4 is between Willem Botha and Johan Fourie. Fourie dives up on the inside. He's got the inside line and he gets his nose ahead there of Botha, but Botha fights right back. Ahead of them is the 78 of second place man, Atinagel. That's second, third, and fourth in your screen. And closing up there behind them is the man in P5, 2 seconds behind them, namely Luke Lucchesi.
That's right. I will describe Willem Botha versus Johan Fourie. Doesn't get a lot better than that. Swayze Bear, Leonardo Bakari, Gerald Boucher, and Eugene Manouk. 2 in the pits, 2 completely out of it. Fastest lap time 1:45.540. That is blindingly quick. Ian Riddle has gone into the pit lane and he's busy dropping down the leaderboard. Davi Dubé finds himself not that far behind the Robbie Teams.
Now, Davi Dubé 0.2 of a second behind Robbie Teams in that fight for P7 and 8. There, the two of them go into that left-hander, and Davi is trying as hard as he can to make the move there on Teams. There's a 1/10 of a second between the two of them. Now he looks up on the inside. Teams on the outside has got the line, but Robbie Teams covers the line going into that left-hander, and it is a flashing motor car there of Davi Dubé. He's got some kind of connectivity problems, but Johan Fourie has got no connectivity problems. Neither is Atinagel, and neither is Willem Botha. Botha just manages to stay ahead of Fourie at this point in time as they're chasing down the man in that second position, Atinagel, and closing up on them. Only 1.6 seconds behind them is the man in P5, and that is Pantera Racing's Luke Lucchesi.
Well, can Luke Lucchesi possibly catch up to them? Let's have a look at the last lap time that they did. Lucchesi of 47.3 of 46.0, so he lost 1.3 seconds there to Johan Fourie in the last lap. Obviously some form of incident, and well, we have to see next time they complete the lap and see if they get any closer. Atinagel, man, him and Raymond Duggan voted the success stories of the last 6 months of iRacing in South Africa.
Boyakistain, off that issue in the beginning, is in 22nd position, but he's the fastest man out there with a 1:45.225. He's now just moved up into 21st position. He's taken that place away there from Mike Verrier, and that's just a mention. Oh, the guys are driving as hard as they can coming out that last corner. There's Andre Steenkamp. Right behind him is Reinier Hubert and Jan Sparmers. They're right in there, and they're all over the 18 of Stephen McCarthy.
Well, Steenkamp lost out there because of the fact that he ran wide coming out of the last corner. Gets it onto the dirt. Everybody else stays where they should be. Luckily that Verrier dived out of the way with that one. But that just shows you just one little mistake like that and it's all over. And well, it looks like Steenkamp has come to a standstill. Something's wrong with that motor car, and he'll dump it straight back in the pit. So let's go back to our leader, Graham Stephen, and he's now giving himself a sizable gap because the group behind him is still busy fighting. Now, Willem Botha from Johan Fourie, from Atinagel, Luke Lucchesi comes with and joins in to make it all the way back.
That's a hot rumble in the jungle there for P2, 3, 4, and 5 at this point in time. Pantera Racing's Luke Lucchesi. He's 3.3 seconds ahead of Peter Hubert, which means that Luke Lucchesi's got the best seat in the house in this fight. He has got the 777 pressurizing him, so you can have a look at this fight that's going on just ahead of him. Ahead of him is Atinagel. Ahead of Atinagel is Johan Fourie. And ahead of Fourie is Botha. And they are fighting it out there for Botha's second position as they make their way out the final corner. That's the home straight of OKAYAMA International Raceway. Racing down towards turn number 1. Nothing changes between them as they make their way into turn number 1. Lucchesi goes and looks on the outside, but the line is covered there by Nagel. As they make their way around out of turn number 1, they're working their way now through Williams Corner, and then they will go into the Moss S's, and then at the bottom of all of this will be the Atwood curve, and they're busy working their way now towards the Atwood curve.
And Spalmer's doing a lovely job putting a lot of pressure there on the tail end of the Roubaix. You can see that's what 0.1 of a second looks like as Luke Lucchese. Keep an eye on Luke Lucchese's timing board at the top. He's also within 0.1, and Spalmer's has a look up on the inside, and he takes that position away. But Luke Lucchese has closed the gap. Look at that four-way battle.
What a rumble this is. It's Willem Botha right behind Willem Botha. Issue 140. Then it's Atnagel that now gets overtaken by Lucchese. Lucchese moves up into that fourth position. Nagel drops down into P5. But Fourie is crowding the back end there of Botha as they go into that right-hander. It's Botha, it's Fourie. It is Lucchese and Nagel. That's the four cars you see there in your screen, and not too far behind them on the top of your screen is a 777 of Peter Hubert, and he's 3.2 seconds behind the group ahead of him.
Peter Hubert on a 146.3, a 147.3 by Ati Nagel. That's why you can see Peter Hubert coming into play as he had a very good last lap. Look at that, Luke Lucchese on the move. Luke Lucchese is closing up very, very quickly, and it looks like he wants to have a go at the back end of the monster car of Johan Fourie. So Lego versus Monster versus Red Bull.
Yeah, and then that 78 cars in there as well of Ati Nagel. What a lovely, lovely fight between them. Ati Nagel, iRacing SA on that motor car. As he chases down those three cars there ahead of him. He's losing a little bit of ground now to Luke Lucchese, 0.5 of a second. There's René Hubert in that 13th position. He and Stephen McCarthy is all over the back end there of the man in P11, namely Jan Spalmers. There is Spalmers, there is McCarthy, and there's the camel car of René Hubert, the 23 car that sits in there just behind the 18 car and goes very wide, goes very hot into that corner, and not too far behind him, 1.6 seconds, is the Fanta car of Colin Plitt.
Robbie Teings also got himself right onto the back end of Darwin Joubert, and that renowned 17 car, the resplendent in the green and orange. Can't miss that one whatsoever. Robbie Teings getting very close. Sander Bakari, 2 cars further back, is now also getting onto the back end of Raymond Duggan, and another man that's trying to make up positions. That man, the Roubaix that we were just on now, he's got himself within a 0.5 behind Stephen McCarthy. So that's looking pretty decent as well. Let's go back to the Pantera Racing versus national multiple South African main circuit champion Johan Fourie as they work their way up the front lane. Lap number 7, 12 minutes of the 30 minutes done.
Right, here we go, down into turn number 1. Fourie's in that 4th position. He really wants, that 3rd position I should say. He really wants that 2nd place there from Willem Botha. Willem Botha is defending all he can, and in his driving style of defense there, he's now 4.7s behind Graham Stephen. So with that defensive driving of Willem Botha, keeping Fourie, Lucchese and Nagel behind him, Graham Stephen has now disappeared down the highway as Fourie moves up into that 2nd place and then loses it again to Botha.
Oh, I think they're going to end up 3 abreast as they come out into the front. Oh, look, easy sticks it on the inside. 3 abreast, it doesn't get any better. Let's have a look from the top end down. That's what it looks like when you go 3 abreast down the back lane. Now, remember, Lucchese's got the right line at this stage of the fight, but Willem Botha slightly ahead of him, and Johan Fourie slightly ahead of that. Oh, he came across the line, did Botha, and unfortunately, that's going to cost him. He was not far enough forward, and unfortunately, that takes him out of it. I think Nagel's still looking very, very good. You see Graham Stephen going out of your left-hand top corner of the screen. Luke Lucchese with Johan Fourie and Ati Nagel in there, one behind the other. That's those 3 that you see there now, and then going a little bit further back, that next battle, that is Peter Hubert under braking with Willem Botha, trying to have a look up on the inside. They almost make contact. A little bit further back, Willem Botha is about to go into the right-hander. Then you see Darby there, that's the orange car, and he's 1.7 seconds back, and then you see Bobby Teens in there behind that. So Johan Fourie is going to have to really push now if he wants to hold on to Luke Lucchese. As let's have a look at that Willem Botha incident from a little bit closer. That was where they all came down. Tries to squeeze out on Lucchese. as they come down towards the corner. Turns in before Lucchese does, and unfortunately that just turns him around, and he has to try and get out of the way very quickly, because there comes the 19 car that was right behind them. Well, that one sorted out pretty quickly. That was Pretty Hubert has also had an off circuit, so we can see exactly what happened to him. He was just overexcited by that original passing maneuver. He hit the off circuit or himself back. But Johan Perry has now done a passing maneuver on Luke Lucchese, gets his nose past, and Lucchese then retakes the lead by taking that right out of the corner, and Lucchese holds onto that position. Going back to that fight at the front end of the field, it's no longer a fight rank, it's a 6-second advantage.
Yeah, Graham Stevens got a 6-second advantage of Luke Lucchese, Johan Fourie, and Atinachel is right back in play again. Here comes Atinachel on the case there of Fourie. Then you're looking at Willem Botha. He's got the 777 of Peter Hubert right in there with him. That is P5 and 6 and 1.7 seconds behind them is Davy Hubert. Davy Hubert's got Robbie Teams in there, 1.7 seconds behind Teams. Then Raymond Duggan. He has got Sandra Bakari in the NGK Spark Plugs car there for company. That's a P10 and 11. Then Jan Sparmer's coming through. That is a P11. Then Rainier Hubert is in that 12th position. He's got Stephen McCarthy in there behind him. And then the Fanta car of Colin Plitt is there in that 14th position, 1.5 seconds behind Stephen McCarthy.
I don't remember Colin Plitt being in the first race.
Yeah, he was there. The 75 car was in race 1.
Start on that
yes,
one.
He was. Yes,
behind
he was.
him is Timothy Stanton, back in South Africa again, having gone to visit the kids, Willem Pienaar. And then Peter van der Spey finds himself 13 seconds further back behind Paris within the 10th.
Yeah, poor Francois Hubert all the way down in P18 in that 304 car. But let's get back to that fight for second and third and even fourth positions. That's what the Lego output looks like. You can see the little, oh, look at this. It doesn't get closer than that. Up on the inside, Lucchese and Fourie, two of the greatest karters you've ever had here. And I say of the greatest karters, not the greatest, but two of the greatest we've ever had here in Western Province and main circuit racing. They go one-on-one for that second and third position. The karting experience of both Lucchese and Fourie will come in here as they make their way into that left-hander. They will not panic, these two, that's for sure. But in doing so, Graham Stevens is disappearing down the road. He's nearly 6 seconds ahead of this fight between Lucchese and Fourie. And, for that matter, Atinachel.
Well, Atinachel's not that far behind them. Next time they go across the line, we'll be able to see. Oh, that's going to cost him straight line speed. Can Johan Fourie do the closing maneuver from there? It's very possible.
Well, out the final corner they go, down the home straight towards turn number 1. He's in that second place. Here they come down, and he is right there on the case of Luke Lucchese. Lucchese a lot earlier on the brakes and touches the brake again. Bit of brake testing and brake checking going on there by Graham Stevens. By Luke Lucchese. And he's making Fourie wonder a bit exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But they are two old horses, these two, Lucchese and Fourie. But they will know Nachel's only 0.8 of a second behind them. You don't want to get that one wrong. There is Peter Hubert. He's in P6, 0.4 of a second between him and the man in P5, Willem Botha. And closing up on them, only 1.7 seconds in P7 is the 3 car of Davy Hubert.
Well, look at this one. Luke Lucchese, Atinachel, Willem Botha. Nothing much between them whatsoever. Luke Lucchese once again on that inside line. He'll protect that one, and will Johan do the cutback? No, he won't be able to. He's got to stay exactly where he is. Atinachel's getting closer and closer. Is he going to be able to make it to a top 3? Not possible.
Well, Lucchese, Fourie, and Nachel must be careful because they're going to pick up Leonardo Bakari. He is a back marker. They're going to catch him pretty soon. There is Nachel all over the back end of Fourie, who's all over the back end of Lucchese, as they work their way into that right-hander, and that back marker is not too far behind them. And if my facts are right, I think that's Leonardo Bakari.
quite possible as they work their way through the last corner. Just feather it nicely, use the rumble strip and the green section on the outside and a bit more. Pity Hubert has not given up on a Willem Botha, as Willem Botha was in that battle up front, got knocked, spun around, and is recovered himself as far as 6th position, but it's not going to be easy for him to get from there, because Willem Botha is only 0.4 ahead there of the likes of Pity Hubert, and we've seen Pity Hubert run up front more than once before.
Davy Hubert is now 1.9 seconds behind them, so Davy is not far behind Willem and Peter at this point in time. And then P8, Robbie Keens has got Raymond Duggan there for company. It's only 7/10 of a second between Keens and Duggan for P8 and 9. There's the two of them coming out, that right-hander, and they've been caught there by Sandro Bakari and, for that matter, the man in P11, Jan Sparman.
Oh, Ryan Fourie having another look on the inside. This time I look the keys. He realizes no can do. The proverbial cut back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that for a moment. And he takes it over again. Pity Hubert still within the 3/10. Nothing much in it. He's not given up. Remember, we're already almost 21 minutes into the 30 minutes of this race. Raymond Duggan starting to move a little bit closer now to the back end of our Robert teams.
Well, that the trio for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, definitely they're going to close up onto Bakari. I saw that on the battle box a bit early on. But there is Raymond Duggan. He's all over the back end there of Robbie Teams. That's what 2/10 of a second looks like. And don't write off Sandro Bakari and Jan Sparmers neither in P10 and 11. They're going to close up on them. As a matter of fact, Sparmers is only 8/10 of a second behind Bakari. So this fight's not done and dusted. Oh, look at Duggan squirming as he goes into that right-hander, chasing down Robbie Teams.
A little bit further down is Jaco Steyn. He's starting to try and fight his way back. He finds himself in 19th after that unfortunate incident right at the beginning. Having won heat number 1, finds himself now just inside of the top 20, which is not where he would like to be whatsoever. But I think he'll take a bit of happiness home out of that first race victory, which wasn't gifted, but he drove it to the front.
Now, to work very hard that win, and it's a well-deserved win there for Jaco Steyn. And sadly goes from 0 to 0 because of an issue in the beginning with Mike Berrier that left the circuit and then plowed into the 88 there of Jaco Steyn. It's one of those unfortunate things that happened in the opening stages of our opening lap. And Jan Sparmers is all over the back of Sandro Bakari, is all over the back there of Raymond Duggan, was all over the back of Robbie Teams. That's a group of cars you see going through that hairpin corner. There is Teams giving a train of 4 cars into that left-hander.
That is in fact what happened to Jaco Steyn. Was Mike that lost it, went back to the pack, and well, that was there. Let's have another look at that one. See, unfortunately, losing it, nowhere to go, and that's how Jaco Steyn finds himself recovering the tail of the field. Happiness in the one, unhappiness in the other, but a happy man up front, Graham Stephen. He also didn't have much fun in heat number 1, and now coming back very strongly. The 4-second lead now on
Lucchese, 4 seconds behind him, and Johan is now 1.8 seconds behind Lucchese, but Lucchese must keep off the dirt. Lucchese must keep off the dirt. They've got a back marker between them. That's a Mela yellow car of Andre Steenkamp. He's been lapped there by Lucchese. He's been caught there by Fourie, Nagel, and Botha. They are right there with him. Here goes Johan Fourie, and here comes Nagel. Atti Nagel right there on the case of Fourie. As a matter of fact, Atti is 1 second behind Johan Fourie. Fourie in P3, Atti P4. Here is Willem Botha. Right behind him is a 777 of Peter Hubert. Hubert 3/10 of a second behind them. Only 1.1 second behind them in P7. Is Davy Hubert. Robbie Teams is sitting out in P8, but look at that. Robbie Teams has got Duggan, Bakari, and Sparmers all over him as we have a look at that fight for the lead going into the right-hander. And here is that fight there for Robbie's 8th position.
Robbie holding out from Raymond, Sandro, and then Jan Sparmers in there as well. Sparmers got nothing to lose this stage of the fight. He's just outside of the top 10. and he's got a big open space behind him. You can see it's all wide open. So right now, he's only got eyes for what's happening in front of him. That's what he sees.
Jan Palmer sees an NGK spark plug machine there, the Mazda MX-5 of Sandra Bakari. And ahead of Bakari is Duggan. Ahead of Duggan is Teens. Ahead of Teens in P7 is Davi Hubert. That is that fight that's going on through that right-hander. That's the second last corner. And now into the final corner they go before they work their way down the main straight. There's the main straight, and Sparmers is all over the back of the NGK spark plug and cannon outfit of Bakari as they go down the back main. Bakari covers the line as Sparmers goes around the outside. Duggan on the other end is all over the back end there of Robbie Teens. Here comes Sparmers, and that line being covered once again there by Robbie Teens, who's all over the back end of Raymond Duggan, who is all over the back end there of Robbie Teens.
Well, it doesn't get any closer than that. And if you were a sitting passenger in the car, that's what it looked like. You can't go through it. They're still through there. How they going to get through? Oh, very, very close. Climbs on the curbstone. I think he's watching them and not looking at the curbstone. But that four is so, so close. They're right on top of one another.
What a lovely fight. That's for 8, 9, 10, and 11th position. That's a 4 of them you see going down that long straight. And Teens is trying to cover. Teens is trying to cover. Here comes Bakari. He's sitting on the outside of Duggan. He's going to go wide. Duggan will hold that line. That's for sure. And the Sparmers will have a go as well. Jan Sparmers will have a go. Teens, Duggan, Bakari, and Sparmers. That's a 4 of them you see there going into that left-hander.
I think we've got to stay with this one right now. And that for 9th, 10th, 11th position. Brilliant, brilliant dicing. And you see how much respect there is amongst them. Everybody trying not to make contact with whoever else is around.
Well, this is the right Royal Rumble in the jungle that we're staying with. Robbie Teens, Raymond Duggan, Sandra Bakari, and Jan Sparmers. They are fighting it out there, as I said, for 8, 9, 10, and 11th position. The gaps in front between the first 4, 5 has got massive at this point in time. Down the main straight they go. And that is the fight out there for P8.
Swam is starting to close onto the back of Sandro Bakari. Sandro running a slightly tighter line later on the brakes and coming up onto the back. I think Duggan rolled out of the brakes because he saw a man coming from behind. Now Duggan has a look up on the inside and tries to get up on the inside of Robbie Teens as they disappear through the behind the trees. I think the man on the right line is in fact Robbie Teens. Can he hold on to that one? Yes, he does. Bakari has a look on the inside line. Duggan runs on the outside. Well, McCarthy would love to be able to join up with that package.
Jan Sparmers is showing his nose as well. And watch out for that man in that white car. That is Jan Sparmers. He is side by side. They're almost side by side with Sandra Bakari. And Duggan is side by side with Teens, and they touch each other, and Bakari slams into the back there of Duggan, and he might just lose out big time because Jan Sparmers is in there as well. Now Jan has a look at the Duggan. Duggan's on the outside, Sparmers up on the inside, and Jan Sparmers takes that position away there from Raymond Duggan.
So I'd love to run through the pack with just 1 and 3/4 of a minute to go, but the miss out on this is going to be so sad. Let's watch it just a little bit further, and then we will run from the top and down for you.
Well, we need to stick around with this one, and Robbie Teens has got them in there behind him. He has got Sparmers behind him. He's got Duggan behind him. He's got Bakari behind him. And as we say, it is a lovely fight out there for 8, 9, 10, and 11. Out of the final corner, down the main straight, these 4 go in that fight for P8. Heading down into turn number 1. Robbie Teens looks in there at the 21 car of Jan Sparmers in there behind him. Then Duggan sits in there behind him. And then we have got Bakari. He had a look up on the inside, want to take the tighter line, but just slowed him down. If he had taken that tighter line, he would have lost more ground there to Duggan, if anything. But Peter Hubert and Willem Botha in that fight for P5 and 6 is right in there. And that is Botha, Hubert, and Davi Hubert. So both Peter and Davi in that fight for Willem's P5.
And Spammers looks like he might lose out on that position as he has a look at the Robbie Teens. Robbie on the inside, Jan on the outside line. Will he be able to make it under braking? I think that Teens might under braking be able to hold him out. Does he run wide? If he does, they're going to come straight up the inside, and that's going to cost him. Robbie Teens held on so well for so long, and that's cost him that position. Graham Stephen working his way on the very last lap. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to be on the 30-minute mark, and that's the second last.
Well, that fight you saw there for 8, 9, 10, and 11, they were coming up to catch and lap the 46 of Andre Steenkamp. So that can still play. As Stephen comes home in P1, Graham Stephen wins this one with Luke Lucchesi second, Johan Fourie third, followed there by Atti Nagel across the line. Willem Bottas right in there behind him, followed there by Peter Hubert, David Hubert, and then Gabby. This fight for P8.
Can he hold on? He's going to just hold on right until the last. Jan Spammers from Robbie Teams. Eventually, they're just ahead of Raymond Duggan as they came across the line. That was very, very close. Stephen McCarthy just ahead there of Renier Hubert as they come across the line virtually alongside one another. Timothy Stephen, Colin Plitt, here comes Willem Pina, and that's the last of the cars that's very, very close to one another. And then Stefan Spade was involved in an incident earlier on, trying to recover, finds himself 20 seconds further down the circuit.
Well, Lucky Steins got up to that 18th position. Here comes Van der Spey crossing the line in 17th, and 6.2 seconds behind Peter as he crosses the line now. In P18 is Jaco Steyn. Here comes Jaco towards us.
Winner of race number 1.
Yeah, and only 1.1 seconds behind him in P19 is Francois Hubert. Not a great outing for him. Not a great outing for Swice either. He's 10 seconds behind Francois. Remember, Swice did so well out there in the opening race. Here comes Mike Berrier. 21st position for Mike. And yeah, he just had bad luck in the opening stint of race number 2. And in 22nd position is Herman Lazarus.
Oh. Very, very. So let's give the computer a couple of seconds to get itself together. Then let's have a look at those results, and that is how it panned out in the feature race.
Graham Stephen, Luke Lucchesi, and Johan Fourie. That is your podium. And then just off the podium is Atti Nagel, Willem Botha, and Peter Hubert. Wow, what a race out there. Davi Hubert, Jan Spammers, Robbie Teens, Raymond Duggan, and Sandro Bakari. That was that fight there for 8, 9, 10, and 11, between Jan all the way down to Sandro Bakari, not too far behind them. Rounding off the top 12 was Stephen McCarthy.
It was good luck for some, bad luck for others. 27 total out there. You've got to feel for Jaco Steyn, the maiden victory in this class, and then bumped off with no wrongdoing of his own. One of those things that happen, and yeah, say fine. The heat number 1 result there, you can see Jaco Steyn from Peter Bay, Johan Fourie, and Luke Lucchesi. So Johan Fourie, Peter Bay, and Luke Lucchesi doing exceptionally well. Jan Spammers once again finds himself at top 8. Sandro Bakari also had a pretty decent one there. You see where Sandro Bakari is there. See where next race
11
positions. That'll give him about 8 overall. So I think that was a very good choice of track. It was a very good choice of car. It was a lovely race.
Yeah, this Mazda MX-5 is always going to give you some very decent and very close and very exciting racing. I love the guys that actually come up with the Mazda MX-5 series because I think that will be very, very, very entertaining, but that's just my opinion.
Well, there's going to be a elite race, the juniors race, which is going to be coming up just after this one. We'll see if they that up in that series game. from Second Gear Productions, from our side, Gary Fleming, on behalf of Westbourne Commentators Association, 20 Years, also Westbourne Motorsport. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you down at Killarney as we go down for the second last round of the Power Series, and then next week Sunday for the Motor Show at Killarney. We'll see you this week Saturday. We'll see you next week Tuesday for the Second Gear Talk Show. Next week Wednesday for round number 3 of season number 7, and then next week Sunday. Thanks very much for joining us. Good night to you.